Alright, shalom. All praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to our elders, which are the elders of GMS, that feed us with knowledge and understanding through the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And much love to you brothers on the four corners of the planet, the elect. Alright, that's what we're set up to push to the elect. Lord willing, we wait. Lord willing, we reach them, man. That's what we're set up to do, is to elevate the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments in His words in these last days, man. Alright? And to give back the heritage that was stolen and that was actually taken from us. Alright? So right now we have this thing coming up with wicked ass Thanksgiving. So Russia Today put out a short documentary that's casting the dirt upon Esau, which they are Edomites too in Russia, but that's the Lord doing it. Let me get a quick script. This is the book of Obadiah 1 and this is Obadiah 1 and 10. It says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever." Now right now, where's this verse going into? What's the shame? Because Esau is our brother. He was our biological brother. Okay, Jacob and Esau were not identical, but fraternal twins. Alright, so this Native American, when they slaughtered the Native Americans and brought us into slavery, that was the violence against our brother. Alright, so now RT's going to go into it, and I hope you brothers are edified.
And America as a horrors of Thanksgiving, and America as a white future minority coming up.
Far and away the most massive genocide in the history of the world. The lowest life expectancy in the West. And the year the U.S. will turn native.
Virtually none of Thanksgiving has an ounce of accuracy, notes the bestseller Lies My Teacher Told Me. The idea of Europe bringing civilization to the Americas simply flips truth on its head. This is what European explorers actually found in North America.
Far and away the most beautiful city on earth. 5 times the size of London or Rome. Great towers and buildings rising from the water. 60,000 gleaming houses, and how spacious and how well built they were. Of beautiful stonework and cedarwood, and the wood of other sweet-scented trees. The many streets and boulevards of the city were so neat and well swept, despite the multitude of inhabitants, crisscrossed with a complex network of canals, like an enormous Venice, but also remarkable floating gardens that reminded of nowhere else on earth.
While Europe was drinking water from its polluted city rivers, huge aqueducts transported America's water from fresh springs.
But what impressed most were the special merchant areas, where timber and tiles and other building materials were bought and sold, as well as greengrocer streets, where one could buy every sort of vegetable, fruits, honeys, nut paste and chocolates. Astonished by the personal cleanliness and hygiene of the colourfully dressed populace, and by their extravagant use of soaps, deodorants, and breath sweeteners.
Most Europeans never bathed and kept clothes on at all times. The Pilgrim's Notes biographer Zini Feiner had a terrible smell. Indians tried, quote, without...
So the settlers were funky ass, no knowledgeable beasts. If it wasn't for the power of the Most High, they wouldn't have took down nothing, okay? This was prophesied for them to come over here and do what they've done to set up America, man. So their sins could be cast down. This is the fulfillment of prophecy. They had to come over here to fulfill the prophecy. Read it again. This is Obadiah 1 and 10. It says, For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. This is shameful. This is RT bringing this out. This is not America bringing out. This is RT. This is shameful. The world is putting the dirty laundry out there to say, as they're cleaning something.
Success to teach them to bathe. Settlers also had breath from rotting teeth. Death and Indians tried, quote, without success to teach them to bathe.
You see the fringes?
Settlers also had bad breath from rotting teeth. death and starvation was so common that corpses were just dumped in open pits known as poreholes. Many turned to alcohol and committed suicide. In fact, the story of the first settlers had been deliberately changed, author James Lowen, because the truth is so shameful. They actually settled hundreds of miles further south and stayed in America because the mission was a failure. Their real aim, reports historian Robert Beverly, was to find some gold and take it back to Europe.
They spent their days digging random holes in the ground, haplessly looking for gold instead of planting crops. Soon they were starving and digging up putrid Indian corpses to eat. They took some Indian prisoners and forced them to teach the colonists how to farm.
The meal with the natives wasn't quite the Thanksgiving shown on TV and in school books.
The colonists offered the Indians...
It wasn't quite the Thanksgiving shown on TV and in school books.
The colonists offered the Indians a toast to eternal friendship, whereupon the chief, his family, advisors, and 200 followers dropped dead of poison.
In mainstream history books, perhaps the most common description of American territory then is virgin land. In fact, notes historian Peter Jennings, it was widowed, horrific enough the Nazi ethnic cleansings in Europe during World War II. Leading American Studies professor David Stannard notes it's dwarfed by far and away the most massive act of genocide in the history of the world. The death of 100 million indigenous people in the, quote, American Holocaust. Some from disease, but also vast numbers from a deliberate policy aimed at wiping out the race that mainstream history books continue to pretend never happened. He knows when Heinrich Himmler called the final solution, quote, delousing, Himmler was only echoing the Pilgrim Army's rallying cry, nits make lice, nits being Indian babies.
Alright, this is a quick verse. This is a book of Ecclesiasticus 12 and 13. And it says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beast? So one that goeth to a sinner, and is defiled with him in his sin, who will pity? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come unto thee, thou shalt find him there first, and thou he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. So that's Esau to a T.
This was a map of Indian nations across the US. 80% of the first government's entire budget went on attacking existing Indian settlements to take their developed farmland. Settlers would most probably not have survived, writes Jennings, on their own. 95% of America's entire population was then wiped out. American Holocaust notes there is documented evidence of colonist leaders going town after town, deliberately killing all men, women and children. Yet school texts and history books remain silent. Orders came from the very top. Under the direct order of George Washington, at least 28 of 30 Seneca towns and all the towns of the Mohawk, Onondaga and Cayuga were simply obliterated. George Washington wrote, the Indian country, quote, must be destroyed. Thomas Jefferson called to, quote, pursue Indians to extermination. Nobel Peace Prize winner Theodore Roosevelt called beneficial the eradication of the native race. Stannard notes genocide was official public policy. California Governor Peter Burnett, in his 1851 message to the legislature.
Extermination must continue to be waged until the Indian becomes extinct.
Another governor issued the public proclamation to, quote, pursue, kill and destroy all Indians. A witness notes the ensuing bloodbath practically wiped out the native race.
The whites shoot them down like wolves, men, women and children, wherever they could find them. This war of extermination against the Aborigines is tending to the final extinction of the race.
What reportedly saved the race from extinction was their use of slave labor.